The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, a very good afternoon, everybody, and happy Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and travelprofessionalnews.com, I want to welcome all of you to today's webinar and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. Our host today is Scenic Cruises, which is part of the Scenic Group. Our speaker is Scott Moore, Business Development Manager for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Scott has returned to his roots in the travel industry as Regional Sales Manager for Mid-Atlantic and Northeast for Scenic Luxury Cruises and Tours and Emerald Waterways. Scott spent 20 years with the Walt Disney Company, with the last 15 being in the corporate sector. Prior experience includes Walt Disney Travel Company, Disney Cruise Lines, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and Continental and Eastern Airlines. Scott was a travel agency leader, so he understands the retail side of the industry as well. Scott earned his CTC in 1995 and continues his quest for learning, which now includes the amazing wonder of river cruising with Scenic. Scott's topic today is the Scenic Group featuring Scenic Eclipse, the world's first discovery yacht. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question area of the dashboard on the right-hand side of your screen, and hopefully we can get to most or all of your questions after Scott's presentation. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Scott so he can get started with this wonderful information. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that introduction. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday afternoon. I happen to be speaking to you from Charlotte, North Carolina, where it's beautiful and sunny outside. So I hope your weather in your summer started off to a great start as well. So we'll get started here. Again, I'm Scott with the Scenic Group, and the Scenic Group is started back, actually, the slide that's in front of you says a 30-year journey, but actually started with a gentleman by the name of Glenn Mahoney back 32 years ago. His father bought a resort on the coast and said, son, figure out a way to get all these people out to my new resort. So that's where Scenic Tours Australia started in the land business. And actually now we operate 800 departures, escorted tours in 66 countries around the world. Now we don't sell those in the U.S. currently, but we do sell our products both in Australia, Canada, the UK, and then only in the United States for the last about 5 years, and really only focused in the last 3 years. So we're a newcomer in this. Sandy said in my introduction, I was with the Mouse for 20 years, so I've come from the world's most recognized brand to a brand that's a hidden secret. So we're going to talk about that today. So the Scenic Group is made up of 2 different brands and 3 different products. The first is Scenic Luxury Cruises and Tours. We'll talk a little bit about that towards the end. The second is Emerald Waterways, that was started in 2014. And then our main topic today is going to be the Scenic Eclipse fleet. So we're very excited about that. So we'll dig right in here with that. Well, I think we got the wrong one up here. Hang on one second. Technology. Sandy? I need to, whoops.
Okay, do you need to change your slide presentation?
I do. It popped up the wrong one up here.
I think we can all identify with that.
We were just talking about that technology, weren't we? And okay, now it's like, let me go down here. Sorry about that. I was doing
that's okay,
well,
Scott. We've all been there. We've all been there. Not to worry.
There we go. Okay. Because it starts out the same, so.
Okay.
All right. We're killing time here. There we go. Okay, there we go. So hope everybody sees the Scenic Eclipse fleet, the world's first discovery yacht. So our journey into ocean cruising started in the 1990s. We did some charter work with Princess and Hollow America, and then our Antarctic program started in 2007. We did a full ship charter with Connaught for Scenic Guests, and that's kind of how we got into this segment. So our newest brochure that's out there is 2019 and 20, and then it's a combination brochure. There's also a specific one about the Antarctic and the fjords, and then also the Americas and Europe as well. The first Scenic Eclipse 1 will start in August of this year, so we'll talk about that as well. So with Scenic Eclipse, just like Scenic River, it's totally all-inclusive. So we have the luxury suite, some of the largest suites afloat. We have butler service for all categories. We have all-inclusive dining, all-inclusive beverages. The Scenic Discovery, which is our shore excursion program. And then we have different versions of that, Scenic Rich and Scenic Free Choice. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And to keep in mind, when we say truly all-inclusive, we mean that it is 100% all-inclusive and it's wallet-free zone. So let's take a look at the Scenic Fleet. Here's a picture of the ship on board. So there's 10 different dining experiences, 100% branded, 8 spacious lounges and bars, and then the spa, sanctuary, and pool terraces on the back. If you notice, it looks like a sailing ship, very, very beautiful, very luxurious. We'll dig right into our Veranda suites. So a little bit about them is that they are, there's 114 Veranda suites on 5 decks. Their lead-in category is 344 square feet up to 2,100 square feet. So they all have a private veranda, a luxurious king bed with the Scenic Slumber bed, which means it kind of elevates up and down to your taste. There's a separate sleeping zone and lounge area. Of course, as I said, all butler service, in-suite beverage and dining, and of course your complimentary mini bar that's always stocked. This is the owner's penthouse suite, 2,099 square feet. It has, as you can see from that picture, it has a 645 square foot terrace with a lovely private jacuzzi. Of course, it has in-suite dining, dual steam showers, spa, has a guest powder room, because actually you can invite 8 of your guests that you met on board the ship to dine with you as well. Then this is the suite layout for the Grand Panorama Suite. So this is kind of the majority of the suites on board. They have a separate lounge and dining area for 4. Has a steam shower and the full bath, the terrace with the sun lounges. You can kind of look there. It gives you some of that nice separation. As I said, there's butler service for everybody on board the ship, which is lovely. And then the all-inclusive dining, beverage, and packages. So there are 9 dining venues with a 24-hour in-suite service as well. So there's small and intimate private dining areas. There's no additional cost for those, unlike a dining experience on an ocean liner, a typical ocean liner where there's a surcharge or an upcharge on Scenic. You do not have that. As we said earlier, there's over 8 spacious lounges and bars as well. This is the gentleman who's our culinary director. He comes from Brazil, and he's created over 1,200 unique dishes for the sailings around the world as we embark on our cruise on August 31st of this year is when we'll start. This is one of the restaurants, the Prince Lumiere's, and it seats 40 guests. Again, we get the all-inclusive beverages. So when we say all-inclusive, as it is on the river, it's your top shelf too. So you don't go in there as a lot of resorts that you've been to all-inclusive and say, yeah, everything on the bottom 2 shelves is included, but everything on the top shelf, there's additional cost for. On Scenic Eclipse and Scenic River, that is not the case. This is one of the main lounges that everyone can be able to gather in. This is the theater and entertainment area, so you'll have first-run movies, you'll have live shows, you'll have lecture series on board as well, and you'll have a lot of educational things based on the destination where you're going to. So you can see it. It's very comfortable. It isn't like a normal theater seating. This is the Wellness Center. So the Wellness Center is a full gym. It has yoga and Pilates studio. It has an indoor and outdoor pool. Has separate men and women's steam, sauna, relaxation areas. Quite lovely. This is really interesting. This is the mud room. So when you're in the polar regions, you're going to get a jacket that's going to be yours. to have. You're also going to get boots that you'll be able to use while you're on the cruise. And the idea is that when you come back from your excursion out in the Zodiac or the kayaks, or you've been snorkeling, if you've been in warmer climate, you'll be able to come in this area and it'll all be heated, and you'll be able to change into your robe and slippers and go back to your room. So you're not traipsing through the ship. It's something that's, cold or wet. This is a nice area that you'll have your own private locker area. Let me tell you a little bit about the ship. So we're kind of looking at the ship there so you can kind of get a feel for it. The ship is 550 feet long. It's 228 guests. In the polar regions, it's 200 guests. And there's a 1-to-1 staff to guest ratio. The marina, which is very unique for us with the custom Zodiac, is very accessible. So we kind of joke and say that if the guests can get in and out of a car, they can get in and out of the Zodiac with the way the marina is positioned. Another unique thing about the ship is it has a GPS positioning, so there's no anchor needed. So we want to really protect the areas, the polar areas, Antarctic and Arctic, and the different places that we're going, and so they want to be able to not have to drop anchor. So that's the reason that that it's done like that. It has that GPS positioning on board. Okay, so this is the all-inclusive Discovery. So this Discovery team has gone around the world. And again, go back to our history too, is that we've been doing land tours. We've operated in these areas before, so we're taking that expertise. And you'll have a Discovery team on board that will share the insights into the environment, the history, and the culture of each region. So it's, you want to be very much immersed into where you're going. The Scenic Eclipse is where luxury meets discovery. So it is a whole different category of luxury. Before, there's expedition ships out there and there's luxury ships, but there's never been one that has mirrored the two together as we have. So in the polar region, you can look here, you're going to have 16 different experts on board the ship. There'll be geologists, there'll be bird experts, whale, photography, lots of folks to learn from. So everything, again, is included. So all your sightseeing, all your excursions are all included. This shows the kayak. So again, all-inclusive Discovery excursions that you're right close and up front next to the wildlife. So we have a couple different kinds of excursions, and this is on our river product as well. The all-inclusive Scenic Free Choices are activities that you'll have in the ports that you'll be able to utilize. Usually, in the Antarctic, in the polar regions, it's usually 2 a day. When you're in Europe, some of the other places, it could be up to 4 a day. And then we have something that's very special. It's called Scenic Enrich. And these are exclusive events that only Scenic guests will be doing. So obviously, this is a picture of an event that we have for our river guests, but the folks that are sitting there are only Scenic guests. So we call it the 6-star in ocean cruising. So another thing that's very interesting is that the ship has, the way that it's designed, it has a what they call a polar 6 hull. So it's almost an icebreaker, not quite. But what that means is it can go into areas that a lot of ships and a lot of our competitors are not able to do. So that's a unique feature. Now, you see something there, you see 2 ships. So the Scenic Eclipse 1 was off to such a good start that we just announced back in January the Scenic Eclipse 2, which will come out in 2020. So this becomes the Scenic Eclipse fleet. A couple of different things that are really unique. So as you can see on the left side, there's a helicopter. So each of the ships will have 2 helicopters that you'll be able to utilize now. There are 2 things that will be additional costs. One will be the helicopter, and then the other will be the 7-man submarine. So those 2 different things, they're pretty reasonable. I think they're priced about $250 to $300 per excursion per person. So the idea is not for them to be a huge revenue generator, but obviously we have to control the demand a little bit. So it does have the 2 helicopters and the two submarines. So this is in 2019 and 20. This is the itinerary that you can see. There's the Europe area, there's the Asia areas, and then you see the 2 poles of the North America and the South America. In 2018, our first ship is coming out, and it will go from Athens. If you kind of look on this map down to the mid right, and it will do kind of that portion of Athens, Venice, Barcelona, but then it will come over to Miami and do a 10-day Havana round trip back to Miami, and then down to Cartagena, back to Cuba, down to Cartagena, down into South America and to the Antarctic, and then in 2019 we'll go back over to Europe and then over to the Arctic as well. So both ships will kind of be all over the world. This is again the 2019-2020. So we've divided it sort of into 2 different areas. The Arctic voyages will actually in the Antarctic and the Arctic voyages. In Antarctica, we'll have 10 departures across the season. The high season is November through March, which is summer, which is opposite, obviously, from us. And the all-inclusive discovery will be an average of 2 excursions per day in there. And these are just some of the itineraries that we'll just kind of sort of run through here. But this is Antarctic, South Georgia, and the Chilean Fjord voyages, and you can kind of see those areas. This is out with your kayaks, out in the all-inclusive discovery excursions. This would be really fun to see in person. Another thing that we do that I think is really interesting is that we do snow shoeing in Antarctica. As you can kind of see, there's the penguins looking at that and saying, "Oh my gosh, what is that laying there on my ice?" So that's fun. So a lot of the toys that we have on board of course, the Coastal Zodiacs, the kayaks, the snorkeling equipment, the snowshoeing, of course, the helicopter, submarine. So quite a lot to keep your guests and your clients busy. This is in the late spring and early summer. This is kind of kindergarten when all the little penguins come out. This will show November, December, so this is the 12-day Antarctica depth that you'll see on that itinerary. Late summer. This is the February, March, a little bit different. This is the high summer. This is St. Georgia Island, South Georgia Island. And then this is the 18 days. So this is the one that really includes everything on there as well. There's the Penguin March. Again, another 18-day in March. And then the Arctic and the Fjord voyages. So this is obviously the other end of the spectrum. This will be, you can see the Norwegian fjords, the Arctic islands. We're actually going to do the Atlantic Canadian and then do the Northwest Passage as well. So the ship being small, it's able to get in these sort of off the beat path that a lot of other vessels are not able to do. So this is a picture of one of the spots in the fjords, a little village down there on the right. Again, the all-inclusive discovery. You know, we keep talking about all-inclusive, but we are truly, truly, truly all-inclusive. This is the free choice activities. This looks like this is the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. So that would be one of the activities to go to the baths. This is the Norwegian fjords. This will show you one of the itineraries where you're going way up to the north of Copenhagen. And then the Russian Arctic. This is a place that not many people have gone to, so we're very excited about the Russian Arctic. And then also the White Sea. So this is a very different itinerary. Actually, I had to look up where the White Sea was when this first came out. I will admit it. And the European Arctic. This is the 14-day across the Arctic Circle. Should be very, very cool. This is in the summertime of 2020, which would be obviously there. And then Greenland. Greenland's kind of going, I think it's going to be sort of a hot new destination. Iceland, I went to Iceland personally in 2000, and now Iceland's it's the hot destination to go to. I think Greenland might be there someday. And this is the itinerary from Greenland, going over Iceland and over to Greenland. And then the Canadian Arctic, of course, going through the Northwest Passage up through Alaska. So that'll be in August of 2020. On into Canada. And then the Europe voyages will be there as well. So you can see this is from north to south. And those are the areas that we will go into. We'll go to some places that are off the beaten path, again, because the ship is smaller. And one thing that I think will be very interesting, so this is in Monte Carlo, and we'll do some late night departures in some of these cities so people can go in and enjoy the city and in the culture. It's not about getting the ship out at 5 o'clock. It's really about being immersed in the culture wherever you might be. Again, the all-inclusive discovery. So on Scenic, both river and on Eclipse, we have e-bikes. I told you it was all-inclusive. So on Scenic, you don't even have to pedal. You just push the button and it does the work for you. So this is an example of that. Different free choice activities. Again, this is the Scenic Enrich. Again, those are, you see the word Enrich, those are exclusive events that only Scenic does in those destinations. This would be the ultimate Mediterranean cruise as well, 17 days. The Amalfi Coast in Italy. And then going up to the Baltic Explorer. St. Petersburg, Russia. And actually, it's going to come across to the Americas. So we're going to have it come over across and go to Quebec. So it'll go down the St. Lawrence River into New York. And then in 2019 and 20, instead of going out of Miami to Havana, it will go out of Nassau and then down to Cartagena and kind of do the route again. Those are the different American voyages. This is in Colombia, Cartagena. And this is the Canadian Maritimes that will do that. This will be the other ship that will come into Boston, Martha's Vineyard down to New York City as well. And then we'll do a little bit of the Caribbean, down Havana, down to Costa Rica, and then the San Blas Islands. This is Havana. If you've not gotten to go to Havana, been twice. It's phenomenal. It's a very unique destination. You feel like you're stepping back in time. And this is the San Blas Islands in Panama, and actually a little trivia about this. The San Blas Islands are inhabited by the Kuna Indians, and they are a unique tribe that has, they're not their own nation, but they have their own special nationality and recognized by the United Nations. And I got to go there. Basically, there's about 350 islands that look just like this picture. There's a couple places that have little cities, but it's also like going back in time. Going through the Panama Canal. This will be the Chilean fjords, as you can see here. So the idea is that the ships will really go around the world, both of them, in all different directions, and they will really be going to places that are unique and very different. So a couple things on the promotional side is that there are some early bird specials, 10% discount. There is free deposit protection. So the deposit is non-refundable, but this protects you there. There is some early payment. There are some free international air. Of course, we love groups, and there's a lot of group benefits as well. So these are just some things on the Scenic Eclipse. So we're going to switch from ocean, and we're going to go to river a little bit quickly. So let's explore the scenic route. So these are the different rivers Scenic that sails the main rivers in Europe. So if you're familiar with the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube, Amsterdam to the Black Sea, and what I found fascinating about this when I was reading my history was that it wasn't until 1992 that part of the canal on the Rhine and Main River was completed, so you could sail the entire length. And when you think about that, wow, the Panama Canal was built in 1903, and this is 1992. They're just getting this done, so it's pretty interesting. So those are the main rivers. There's also the three rivers in France. I will tell you that on the Seine River in Paris, the Scenic Eclipse, the Scenic River ship that sails that is purpose-built so they can go further up and get closer to the beaches of Normandy. Which I think next year will be the 75th anniversary of D-Day. We also have two different sailings in Russia, and we're also in Portugal, in Porto. The Douro River, one of the unique things for Scenic and Emerald Waterways in Portugal is we're the only ones that built and own and operate our own ships there. So that's a little bit unique. So again, Scenic, on the river side, we have the inclusions just like we do on the Scenic Eclipse. We call them the spaceships because there's more space ratio than a lot of our competitors. The suite size is larger. Of course, your dining and your beverages, all top shelf, everything is included. Your butler service for all categories. Again, Scenic and Rich. So the picture of that down on Scenic and Rich was in Vienna. You go to Palace Liechtenstein, which is a palace that has the second largest private art collection in the world, and you go in and you have this lovely reception, this unbelievable, beautiful room with all this art, champagne, and then you go in and you have the proudful concert with the musicians, the dancers, the singers. It's quite lovely. Scenic Free Choice is the activities that you can use. So in Vienna, for instance, there were 4 different choices that you could utilize. And over here, this is called TaylorMade. If you can kind of see that picture, it looks like a big iPhone. That is a GPS device that has over 720 points of interest and about 230 tours. So the idea is that wherever you are on our ships, our river ships, you can push the button and it will give you a tour, tell you where you are, both when you're on land and if you're on the river. And you see a beautiful castle and you go, I wonder what that castle is. You get your TaylorMade out, you push the button, turns on, tells you all about it. So very, very neat. So again, what we say, truly all-inclusive, 5-star service. We have balcony suites, the Scenic Sun Lounge. What that means is that instead of having your balcony space outside where you can't always use it, the balcony space is inside with a big solid glass window that drops halfway down that you can regulate to let your air in and also give you a little different seating area. Complimentary beverages, of course, all day. 6 dining options. We have a couple restaurants on the Scenic river ships, the Wellness Center, the e-bikes, as I talked to you about. And then, again, the Scenic and Rich, which are the exclusive events. And then we have something called Scenic Sundowners, and that's where we go to a geographical area or someplace that's a beautiful view, and we have wine and beer, and we have food, and we toast the sun down. So that's a neat thing as well. All your airport transfers are included to and from, all your port charges, all your gratuities, everything is included as well. And then these are the purpose-built ships. So we have 8 ships on the Rhine, Main, and Danube River. Those are the main sort of river that I was talking about from Amsterdam to the Black Sea. We have 3 in France, 1 in Portugal, 1 in Russia, and then we have 2 in Southeast Asia, the Mekong and the Irrawaddy River as well. So we have 15 vessels in the Scenic fleet. So one thing about river ships are, especially on the Rhine, Main, and the Danube River, is they can only be 433 feet long, and they can only be 4 decks high because of the bridges. So it's really about what do you do with that space, how many guests you have on board. So the more luxury ships will have a less guest ratio so that there's more space. The staterooms and suites are larger, and your public areas are larger as well. And then your staff to guest ratio would be smaller there. Now, when we go into the Mekong and Irrawaddy, we go to Southeast Asia, those ships are 44 guests and 68 guests. So they're even smaller with bigger and grander suites as well. So now we'll move to Emerald. We'll talk about Emerald, which is started in 2014. And it has, we introduced 3 ships last year, the Emerald Liberté, which is in the south of France. The Radiance is in Portugal on the Douro River, and the Destiny is in the Rhine, Main, and Danube rivers as well. And then our 2 original ships were the Sun and the Dawn in 2015, along with the Star in the Sky. So Emerald goes on kind of the same rivers, the Danube, the Rhine, the Main. The Moselle is in France, the Rhone in the Seine River in France, and the Douro River in Portugal, and the Mekong in Southeast Asia. So we call it Emerald Exceptional Value. All the airport transfers are included, all your meals, complimentary wine and beer and soft drinks. If you, with lunch and dinner, if you want to purchase a beverage package, it's for spirits, it's 20 euros a day per person, and not everybody in your party has to purchase it, just whoever would like that. Tea and coffee are available, of course, bottled water. There's a shore excursion included almost every day. The complimentary bikes on board for daily use. So the difference in the bikes on Emerald is you got to pedal these versus the bikes on Scenic, which are e-bikes. So they're a little bit different. The complimentary listening devices. There are the tour products, extra special excursions with Emerald Plus. Those are some additional cultural-based excursions that you get to utilize that are no additional cost. Emerald has a lot of active activities, so there's of course biking, there's canoeing, there's hiking, there's those type of things, yoga. And then Emerald and Scenic have what we call a river cruise guarantee, and we're the only line that does this. What this is that if there's high or low water, or there's a bridge problem, or there's a strike, or there's something that interrupts your client's journey for more than 24 hours, there's a monetary proration that goes back to them, and it's not a future cruise credit. So that's a way to kind of back up. It doesn't take the place of insurance or anything, but it's something that backs up our product. So the other thing, too, that's not on here that's really, really important is on Emerald, all the gratuities for both the ship and the shore excursions are included. So in reality, with Emerald, the only additional costs are if you want to do some additional tours called Discover More, or you want to have your drinks. So those are the two differences. So this is on our River Cruise Company comparison. So this is on our website, and this is a good way if you're new to selling river cruises, or you've got a client who's been on an ocean cruise and never been on a river cruise. When they look at the price point, there's going to be a big difference. But when you can utilize this as a tool, and there's some additional updated ones, it tells you what's included, which is a big part. So it tells you, like this just shows you the different brands, our excursions included, our drinks included, this fitness, balconies, port charges, all that kind of stuff. So this is a great tool for you to utilize. We also have a new specialist course on both Scenic Emerald that you can go on our websites, which is scenicusa.com or emeraldwaterways.com, and you can utilize those. There's new training modules on the Scenic Eclipse as well. Once you complete that, you do get a gift certificate after you make your first booking. It's $200, which is a nice little extra. It also allows you to put you on a list for FAMs and agent reduced space. So I'd like you to kind of look into that as well. And then we have a online booking portal called Express Book. So you can utilize that to make bookings and look at bookings and look at promotions, and all of those type of things are on there as well. And the last thing I want to share with you, too, is that there's the promotions for the summer with Scenic River is a free air on most departures, and there's also, which is free, and there's also free premium economy air as well. So look at that. And then for Emerald Waterways, the air is either $295 or $495, depending on the category that you choose. So those are some things on the Scenic. So just to kind of leave you overall, like an overarching ending message for me, is the Scenic Eclipse, the world's first discovery yacht, is a category that does not exist today. It will start existing on August 31st when our ship sails from Athens. It's luxury meets expedition. We're calling it luxury meets discovery. We're very flattered that two of our luxury competitors in the marketplace, both Ritz-Carlton and Crystal, are following in our footsteps and building a product that's very similar. Scenic River Cruise. Think of it, if you're thinking of hotels, think of it as the Ritz-Carlton of the Four Seasons, except there's no bill for your beverages or for your dining. Think of Emerald Waterways as a W hotel. It's a little boutique. It's kind of that sort of contemporary cutting edge. So Emerald is going to compete with our friendly competitors, which you can see on the chart. They're going to compete with Avalon, Ama, and Viking. And then Scenic River is going to compete with Crystal Talk and Uniworld. So that's a way to kind of frame that up. So that's what I have. I think Sandy is going to see if we have any questions.
Sure,
and
thanks.
We'll go from there, Sandy.
Thanks, Scott. That was fabulous. Every one of those products looks amazing. We do have a few questions, but I also wanted to ask you, the Scenic Eclipse looks like quite an upscale product. How would you approach our database? What's the best segment to approach for promoting this to our clients?
Sandy, that's a great question. So I would say, because it's a category that didn't exist, so there may be people that want to do expeditions, but they didn't want to do it on the products that were out there because they were used to a luxury client. I mean, it's a very luxury experience across the board, especially when you're doing the polar regions. If you're not in the polar regions in Europe and you're in South America, it's someone who wants that luxury experience, but they want it to be small and intimate. So there's the guest count on the Scenic Eclipse is 228 guests, 200 in the polar regions, but actually the dining capacity of the ship is 400 people. So you're never going to feel, you're going to feel like you're basically on your own private yacht almost.
That sounds wonderful. I want to just tell our agents that if you have questions, this is a good time to type them in. And if we don't get to some of these questions, Scott, what's the best way for our agents to get in touch with Scenic or Emerald? Or you?
So you can go on either website, scenicusa.com or emeraldwaterways.com, and there's a sales support section, and it will list either myself or my colleagues that have the different, whatever area you're in, and you're happy to get in touch when there's an email address there as well. But mine is just Scott.Moore with 2 O's at scenicusa.com. Scott.Moore at scenicusa.com.
Okay, fabulous. For the river cruise products, if you had to choose one river for a new river cruiser that you think is the best destination, which one would you choose?
So good question. So I would typically, for people that have never river cruised, they're either going to look at the Danube or the Rhine. So if they can do 14 days, then they can do both, because the main river is kind of just in the middle. So you could do both. The Rhine starts in Amsterdam and goes through Germany and probably has more of the castles and the mountains and that feel. The Danube is going to be on the, going to have Vienna and have Budapest. So the very historical, old cities with so much history on that as well. So those are typically the two that people would pick first.
Fabulous. Love those rivers. Can you talk about single occupancy rates? Are there supplements? Are there some cruises on which there are not supplements on each of these products?
Yes, great question. So on Emerald Waterways, there are 2 staterooms that are single occupancy all the time. On Scenic, there's one. However, we do promotions quite often with both that are free single supplement. So just have to ask the questions on the reservations if that's applicable.
Oh, that's great. That's a great deal for the single client.
Yeah.
Do these boats on all of these lines have medical facilities, and are they staffed with a doctor or a nurse or both?
That's a great question. On the Scenic Eclipse, they would be. On the Scenic Rivers, they are not. And that's typical of most river cruises because you're on the river, so you're within a distance of a medical facility very quickly. It's not like being out on the ocean.
Okay, and let's take one more question, and that is one of our agents was watching the Scenic Eclipse description and got to the mudroom and wants to know if the logo jackets are available for sale for people who are sailing the Eclipse or for people who aren't sailing it.
So for the people who are sailing on Eclipse, that is included. That's complimentary for them. So they get a jacket that will be theirs to use on the ship and to take with them. They don't take the boots because typically those are kind of hard to pack. So they would utilize, there'd be a stash of boots on board the ship. I don't know if they're for purchase. That's a good question. At this point, I would say no because we're not in the water yet. But that's just part of the things you get. Also, when you do Scenic River or Emerald Waterways, we give you your documents in a beautiful document folder with a backpack and a lot of things with you. It isn't an e-doc because we believe that presentation, that excitement, builds before you get on board the experience.
Fabulous. And I'll sneak one more question in here.
Okay,
do you have more information on cruising in Croatia? And where can our agent go to learn more about Emerald yacht cruising in Croatia?
So I didn't bring that up, but yes, thank you for bringing that up. So yes, so in 2019, this is new for us. We are doing a 8-day Dalmatian Coast yacht cruise. It's on the Adriatic Princess 2. It's a brand new vessel that is actually still being built, and it will have 31 departures. The yacht holds 38 guests, 18 staterooms, and will sail in 2019. So if you go on the Emerald Waterway site, you'll see the information on that. But it's the lead-in price point is $29.95 per person. It's a little bit different. It's not as many meals included as normal because the idea is that you're in these small ports and you want to experience the local cuisine and nightlife and so forth. But this is a brand new venture for us. We're also Emerald is also we have a product both in Egypt and on the Nile, so it's a combination of cruise and land. And then we have one in Southeast Asia and one in Russia. And then on the Scenic side, we also have a product in Egypt and Jordan as well.
Okay, excellent. And I'll sneak another question in there. And this is a two-part question. We'll combine two to one.
Okay.
That is, do any of these boats have rooms that accommodate more than two people? And how can we all experience these wonderful cruise lines, either with agent rates or with FAMs?
Okay. So the first question is, on Scenic and on Emerald, we do not have third and fourth berth or connecting rooms. So we're not focusing on the family side. There are times in the summer that families come on board, but it's not, there's not a family program. And the Scenic Eclipse would be the same thing at the moment. So we're not gearing to that market. As far as FAM information or agent rate information, the first thing that requires you do the specialist course, so you have an idea of the product. And then I would say get in touch with your regional sales manager and say, hey, I'd like to establish a relationship with you if you don't have one. We'd like to learn more about them. We're here available to help you grow your business and to learn, and we'd love to have you on the product if we can. So, but the specialist course is kind of the first step.
Okay, excellent. And again, there's a lot more information available, including the name of your business development manager listed by region, either on scenicusa.com for scenic or emeraldwaterways.com. And Scott, do you mind giving your email address again for those who want to get
Sure.
directly in touch with you?
Yes, it's Scott, Scott, Moore, at scenicusa.com.
Fabulous. Well, this has really been wonderful. I learned a lot that I didn't know. So this was terrific. I'm sure our agents did as well. Our host for the webinar today has been Scenic Cruises, and our wonderful speaker has been Scott Moore, Business Development Manager for the Mid-Atlantic, lucky me, and the Northeast region. Scott, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
All righty. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon.
And
Enjoy the wonder of travel.
yeah, exactly.
All right. All right. Bye now.
I'll add my thanks to our agents again for taking time out of your day to join us. I'm sure you're happy you did. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.